Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's video we're going to talk getting started with Age of Sigmar Warcry, and today we're going to take a look at the Blades of Khorne, and in particular the Bloodbound, the mortal part of the army. Now, in Warcry, Blades of Khorne, and indeed all the Chaos factions are split up into Demons and Mortals as different factions for the game. So, as said, we're going to look at the Mortals. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about how this faction works on the tabletop in Warcry and what their reaction is. We'll then take a look at a couple of units we recommend to get started with before looking at other units to expand upon after those initial purchases. Finally, we'll finish off the video with a little sample warband of 1000 renown for you to use as some inspiration for creating your own Blades of Khorne Bloodbound faction warband for Age of Sigmar Warcry. Now, before we get into that properly, let's talk about how you can get all the rules for Warcry and indeed this warband and many other warbands for free if you go to warhammercommunity.com. You go to the website and go to the download section, and underneath the Warcry header you'll find all the rules that you need to play Warcry. Now, the Blades of Khorne themselves, they are an aggressive melee-focused force with abilities that generally allow you to deal damage outside of your activations, so additional damage dealing, or will make your attack activations, your melee attack activations, all the more deadly to your opponent. This is really cool. It combines really nicely with, exactly what you're wanting to do with a Khorne army. You want to go out there and you want to punch things. The reaction allows fighters to deal damage when a melee attack from an enemy misses them, and they actually deal extra damage if the opponent misses, which is really cool. So there's plenty of stuff that can get on there and get some extra damage into your opponent. And so, looking to get started, the Slaughter Priest I think is an excellent option. Now, the thing I like about the Slaughter Priest is its Bloodbind double ability. You pick a visible enemy fighter within 8 inch, and that enemy fighter makes a bonus move action directly towards your Slaughter Priest, as if they were jumping a number of inches equal to the value of this ability. So you can call someone down from up on high if they are, which is pretty cool. When doing so, they can move away from enemy fighters within 1 inch as well at the start of the move action. Now, this is pretty cool because it's allowing you to draw an enemy unit into your lines, and your Slaughter Priests aren't any slouches in combat. You've actually got a couple of different options. The one here has the Blood-Bathed Axe and is the more expensive of the two. 3 attacks at strength 4 with 3/5 on the damage. You can get a little bit smaller damage if you go with the Slaughter Priest on Wrathhammer and Hackblade variation. Now, this will also get a 3-inch range attack as well, so we'll have a couple of different attack profiles and can play around with that range, but it won't pack out any of the same damage. It only gets up to 2/4 on its better weapon. Both of them, regardless, are toughness 4 and do have 30 wounds apiece. Now, to go along with these fighters, the best place to start, I think, is grabbing some Blood Reavers. These are really important. These are going to be your cheap throwaway troops that are going to be able to draw early activations in the game, force your opponent to have to show their hand a little bit more, but also they're not too shabby in a fight. You can choose to either go with 4 attacks at strength 3 if you go for the pair of Reaver Blades, or my personal favourite is going with the Meat Ripper Axes for 3 attacks at strength 4, 1/3 on the damage. Toughness 3 and 10 wounds is alright. It may mean your opponent has to put in multiple activations. That 10 wounds is sort of that sweet spot for any sort of, chaffy fighter in your warbands. So they definitely do provide a little bit of nice additional damage. Definitely can work really well with those Meat Ripper Axes when they gang up on an enemy. But where to look next after that, and Blood Warriors I think are an excellent box to pick up. First of all, they have a ton of different options. You can obviously pick the champion models for the unit, but also they've got 3 different variations of fighter within the box. So you have the Blood Warrior with Gore Axe and Gore Fist, which has its own rune mark, which means it can actually deal some damage out of activation sequence to your opponent, which is pretty cool. They do have a nice defense of 4 and 15 wounds for all the Blood Warrior variations, and your Gore Axe and Gore Fist will have 3 attacks at strength 4. You get an additional attack at strength 4, but you'll lose obviously that ability because that is with the Gore Fist if you go with the pair of Gore Axes, but you've also got the Gore Glaive, which bumps you up to strength 5 with 3 attacks and 2/5 on the damage. After that, Skull Reapers are another good option. 4 attacks at strength 4, 2-4 on the damage, 20 wounds, and toughness 4 is solid enough without the fact they actually get a cool ability to use as well, called Demon Forged Weapons, where until the end of this fighter's activation for a triple, you add the value of this ability to the value of their critical hits. Now, looking at some other fighters to bring in, I really like the Khorne. He is a super strong fighter you can bring in. 30 wounds, toughness 4, 3 attacks at strength 5, 4-8 on the damage. Amazing just stats right there. This thing is going to absolutely wreck house. And it also has its own specific ability it can use as well for a double called Lashing Bone Tentacles. You pick a visible enemy fighter within 6 inch and roll 2 dice, and for each 4 to 5 you allocate a damage point, but for each 6 you allocate a number of damage points equal to the value of the ability. So some nice little additional damage, once again out of the activation phases as well. Lastly, the Bloodsecrator, and the reason I think the Bloodsecrator is the better additional hero is you get access to the quad here. Now you can choose to have a more fighty hero if you want, but you're going to get the +1 attack from the Triple and Lord of Skulls for a 6 inch aura, or you can go the quad, which the Bloodsecrator can also use the triple because it's available to all things, and get an 8 inch range for +1 attack as well with the quad. So I think playing with the Bloodsecrator is generally my way to go because you can get that +1 attack at a better range, but you can always, if you only get the triple, still use the other ability. This is just giving you a bonus range if you manage to get that quad. And so here we have our sample warband for the Blades of Khorne Bloodbound. For our heroes, we've got the Slaughter Priest with a Blood-Bathed Axe. I just prefer this one. It's got the extra little bit of oomph behind it, and that's going to be our champion. And then we've got a Bloodsecrator as our second hero. 3 Blood Reavers with Meat Ripper Axes are going to be really important. They're generally going to be scoring objectives and grabbing treasure for us, and be nice throwaway pieces early in the activation sequence to draw out our opponent's activations. We then have 3 better fighters in a Blood Warrior with the Gorglaive, who definitely could do a bit of work with that strength 5, a Skull Reaper in there, and a Khorne as well. This is actually going to give us quite a chunky force with 995 out of our 1,000 renown spent, 8 activations, which is, 8 to 12 is about your average activations, and 150 wounds, so well over that average of the 120 to 140-ish wounds. So a nice amount of wounds, a good solid amount of activations, and some really powerful fighters in there like the Khorne and like the Slaughter Priest and Blood Warrior with Gorglaive can definitely do some solid damage. If you've been playing with the Blades of Khorne Bloodbound in Warcry, let us know how you've been going and what you would do with the faction down in the comments below. And so that is the end of the video. We hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our cool little community here at Sinful Gaming, you can do so in our Discord server, which is linked down in the video's description. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can do so either by joining our Patreon or YouTube members, both of which are linked in the video's description, or going over to our channel merch store and grabbing some channel merch for yourself. We'd like to give our Patreons and YouTube members a special shout out for helping support the channel and allowing us to keep doing what we're doing. So a special thank you to our Patreons: Christian Weir, Soren, Kenny Lowe, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising 8, Cure Dynamic, Anthony B, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Derek and Bloobs, and to our YouTube members as well: Green Roots Gaming, Kenton Young, Ronya, Lock Lorick, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Revenar, Pink Nico Fire, Robin Mankiller, Monty's Tabletop Terrain, John Castle and Davis Weir. And a special thank you to Lady Witchfox at the end here, because she does all the amazing artwork for the channel. It looks stunning. With that said, thank you all for watching once again. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.